Hi, I'm Meredith. I'm going to show you some basic stretches that you can do for yourself every morning and every evening for 5 minutes in the morning and just 5 minutes in the evening that will make a tremendous difference in your life. So these stretches are very fluid. I like fluidity in my movements. I don't like to stand very still for a long period of time. My body likes to move. Maybe that's because I'm predominantly wood energy in Chinese medicine. Wood likes to expand, to move. So these are going to be very fluid stretches, and it's important while you're doing this to maintain a sense of center. So kind of check in with yourself and notice, where is your physical center? Where is that point in your body? And while you're looking at that point in your body, kind of thinking about, where is that point in your being? Where is your center? So just becoming aware of that. Also becoming aware of those points in your body that you notice are maybe tense, or painful, or aching, or really enjoying the stretch and needing to move. Just kind of becoming aware of these things, but not really getting fixated on any one of them. And even if you should have thoughts, just kind of allow them to pass by, as if they were clouds in the sky, or maybe even leaves in the fall, just kind of soaring down to the ground. Just kind of observe them and allow them to fall. Don't really get wrapped up in anything. So we're going to start with some spinal twists. Be sure to lift your back heel so that your pelvis can rotate and your leg can follow. You don't want to leave your heel on the ground. You can cause a knee injury. And just kind of allow your arms as you're twisting to just naturally go in whichever direction they go. You're not really directing them. And you'll notice that all of your movement is actually coming from somewhere in your gut. It's somewhere between your lower back and your belly. Feel that point of center and notice that that is where all of your movement is coming from. The rest of your body is merely moving along for the ride. And imagine, if you will, that this spinal twisting is just kind of gently wringing out your spine. Allowing your spine to find its center too. Spine encases the nervous system. The nervous systems are so stressed in this world. Everybody is stressed. Every day I talk to people all over the planet who tell me that they're stressed, that their life is stressful, no matter where they live, no matter who they are, no matter what their greatest life worries are. Everybody is stressed. So the nervous system kind of gets overloaded with information and energy. And that exhibits a myriad of symptoms. And those symptoms tend to correspond with your own weakest links. And we all have them. The weak link. That's where the problem happens first. That's where we notice it first. Sometimes we notice the problem on a physical level. Something hurts. I have pain. Something's red, something's swollen. Something's different, something's changed on the physical layer. Something isn't right. Sometimes we notice the problems first in the emotional layer. Very, very upset about something. Overly emotional, flying off the handle. Maybe no emotion. Maybe an inability to express emotion, to feel emotion. Maybe it happens on a mental level first, that you notice it in your life. Just mental stresses. Thinking, always thinking. Negative thoughts, so many negative thoughts all day long. It's not really your fault. But you can change it. So it doesn't really matter where the problem originates, because it's all a continuum. You have the physical layer, you have the emotional layer, the mental layer, the spiritual layer. It's all a continuum. It isn't really separate at all. So it's interesting to notice where, on which levels, the problems are exhibiting themselves. And it's also interesting to note which levels are you most responsive to change. Where is your comfort? Is your comfort in the physical world, Is your comfort in the emotional world? Is your comfort in the mental, intellectual world? Is your comfort in the spiritual world? And where is your strength? Where is your greatest strength? Are you really strong physically? Are you emotionally strong, stable? Are you a mental powerhouse of strength? Are you a spiritual leader? Spiritual strength? Where is your strength? Your greatest strength. Now here's the hard part. Ask yourself where your greatest weakness is. Where do you most suffer in your life? Is it the everyday physical interactions with other people? The physical interaction with your body and the world? The mere driving of this physical vehicle that we call a body? Or is it dealing emotionally with the world, with other people? Or is it dealing mentally and intellectually with other people? Or is it more of a spiritual imbalance? Or an inability to connect with yourself spiritually? That part of you that says, who am I? Simply, I am. So it's just kind of interesting to note these things. And it's funny how when you start to move your body and open things up, other things start to open up. You might get sudden ideas or feelings or visions or sounds or whatever. And it's interesting to notice those. So the body is always sending us messages as to what's going on in these other layers, which are quite as easy to perceive sometimes. The body is very tangible. We can see it, we can measure it on many different instruments now. We've got the MRI, the EEG, the X-ray, the CAT scan. We have all these different ways to monitor the physical body. But how do we monitor the emotional body and the mental body and the spiritual body? That's a little more tricky. But the interesting thing is that since it's all connected and it's all really continuum, what's happening on one level lets us know what's happening on the other levels. And so we go back to the physical body, which tells us quite tangibly what's going on in our lives. So we see the physical symptoms as sort of a symbolic message of what's really going on. And we realize that those physical symptoms, as we trace them back to their origin, when did this start, how did it start, why did it start, we start to notice that there were many other things going on in our lives at the time that didn't really have anything to do with whatever ailment is in our body. But the interesting thing is that the body doesn't lie. You could ask somebody, so 2 years ago when your back pain started, what else was going on in your life? Is there something different? Something new? Something changing? And at first they might say, no, nothing really. But the interesting thing is that if you ask the body remembers, because each and every cell of your body holds memory in the DNA, which is actually like a supercomputer. Storage and transmitter of energy, light, and information. So your cells remember. So what you're doing right now is you're just allowing your body to move, to find balance, to connect with it. How much of our day do we spend not really connecting with our bodies? We're just kind of out there somewhere, doing what we have to do. We're in some other layer. We're in the emotional layer all day long, suffering emotionally. Or we're in the mental layer all day long, suffering intellectually. Or maybe we just check out. We check out of this layer completely, and we just completely allow ourselves to live in the spiritual world, but not connect here. And all of these are sort of imbalances. Think about it. So allow yourself to notice where are those imbalances within you. And it's okay to have these imbalances. It's okay. And the funny thing is that in order to change things that we want to change about our life, we have to first notice where we are. Because where we are is a starting point. It's a reference point. And that reference point allows you to move in a certain trajectory. But you can't move in any trajectory if you haven't first located where you are on the map. And then you have to accept where you are today, right now, in this moment, in every moment. Accepting where you are, and knowing that it's okay. And knowing that you have the power to change that. Because you do. And only you do. Your doctor can't really change that for you. Your psychiatrist can't really change that for you. Your acupuncturist can't really change that for you. You have to change it yourself. All of these people might help remind you. They might help remind you what it is you want to change. And they might be able to give you some clues and some tips on how to reach there. And if you're really lucky, you'll find somebody who gives you that experience of what it's like to be already changed. But then the funny thing is you have to go out into the real world and live it. And so sometimes you can go to a fantastic healer or practitioner, doctor, and immediately you feel so much better. You've been healed, you're cured. But then a day or 2 days later, it's back again. Because you didn't change your life. And that's the greatest power that you have. And by changing yourself, by connecting more with who you really are, by allowing yourself to be more of who you really are, in turn you're healing the world. And so now going back to center,